Welcome, darlings. So, today I had a special story time, and it's about my trip to New York. So, what happened and why it ended sooner than it needed to. Okay, first off, thank the heavens I didn't pay for the ticket. Anyways, so I got to the airport and went through the rigmarole of airport. Blah blah blah. Not important. Still, I don't like planes, so that started everything out a little terribly. But know this, it was 2 years ago, not during this current situation. Once I finally got there, after 4 hours or so, I saw a lot of people. It's initially not an issue unless you are more comfortable with smaller groups of people. After a few minutes, I found my cousin, who I was going to see, and she was waiting for me. We took a cab because sometimes, or most times, for some reason, many people just end up not caring if they want to have a car or not. Sometimes, especially in big cities, it's not that serious. And cabs are a lot easier. Or walking or biking. So anyway, traffic wasn't bad. It wasn't the worst, but it was not right. Thank goodness Bree, my cousin, lived not too far from the airport. Once we got to her apartment, which was very nice looking, and it's a month-to-month rental, so I had to ask her, how much do you pay? And let's just say the amount that came out of her mouth made me want to throw her out one of her very nicely placed glass windows. But Bree is a writer, she's a sitter and an artist, and she does very well, surprisingly. Not to sound mean, it's not very familiar to me. So, anyways, I settled in and she ordered a pizza and some soda, which I'm proud to say was amazing. New Yorkers aren't so bad in the kitchen, I'd say, or at least at the place we ordered from. So next we caught up and talked for hours. Then at 2 a.m. we went to bed. My cousin woke up a bit earlier than me, maybe around 9 a.m. to go to work on her books or whatever else she likes to do very early in the morning. And of course, she made herself some coffee and drank it like it was going out of style. And I found exactly why, because the coffee was so delicious. It was smooth and delightful, so I understand. And she also had yummy breakfast sandwiches. Ooh, my goodness. Mon Dieu, mon Dieu. Anyways, after a few hours of me wasting time watching TV, waiting for her to finish up, we walked around her block a while, met a few of her friends, and went to a cake cafe. Of course, I ate the cheesecake. And let me tell you guys something. It's expensive as heck to ship delicious cheesecake to your address, especially when you live so far away from it, away from the shop that you ship from. But it was worth it. So worth it. Now this is where the story gets tiring, and here's why. I left early. It was on the third day. Bree was busy on her phone and writing her book, and I guess there was a delay, so there was more of an issue with her publisher or something, I don't know. And they were yelling, or she was yelling about how her book was running behind schedule and whatever. So I left on my own just to explore. That was a very bad mistake. Very stupid idea. I was so stupid. Couldn't even get back to where she lived because I didn't even know where I went. I didn't have the address, none of the information. I don't understand why I did that. So while I walked for a good amount of time and wasn't paying attention. Stupid tourist brain, I guess it was. So I called Brie, and guess what she did? She didn't answer her phone. Even after, 3 to 10 calls? I don't know how many times, just back to back to back. And I'm like, how can you not answer the phone when you were on the phone? But I said, okay, relax. But, oh no, the ridiculousness has not ended, and it will not end there. I eventually hailed a cab after way too long for some reason, and once I finally got one, I had obviously no clue where the address was, so I'm like, couldn't explain the apartment and how it looked and its location, its streets, none of it. Because to me it was just on a street and it was brownish-ish. I don't know. On top of that, I got kicked out because I had no money. Wallet was left at her apartment. So embarrassing. 2 hours later, she calls back, and I'm sitting outside like a lost puppy. She tells me to wait, and she'll come by to pick me up. It's getting late, and I'm looking around waiting and not trying to look suspicious. And then 2 guys decide, hey, she looks like she's not having a bad enough day. Let's help make it worse. So they decide to get way too close and ask questions they did not need to know. I politely as possible said, buzz off, which makes them call me rude. Very rude names. Like, really? That wasn't enough though. I tried to move, they follow, and it just created a high level of anxiety and discomfort. But I didn't have anything on me to protect myself, so I became a little more overwhelmed than I would have if I had something on me, which is such a rookie move. Like, I should know this. But anyway, it wasn't too bad because plenty of people were walking around, so I'm like, they might not be too stupid to mess with me right now like that. They might just do a lot of this and that's it. So I'm like, okay, it's not too bad, but it's bad. Then a shopkeeper ends up coming out of his store and scaring them off. I thanked him, and he asked me questions. Then he laughed at how much of an idiot I was. So instead of me taking it lightly and just laughing it off as well, I became a bit hurt and walked away to stand a good few shops away from him. I know, childish, whatever. Finally, Brie gets there and I'm heated because it took her an hour and a half. I was like, why am I mad? I stupidly left and didn't have anything with me to ensure I'd get back to her apartment. But it didn't help much. I was still mad. We got into a bit of an argument. My fault, completely. I know. And I decided just to ignore her until I got back to the apartment. Then this is the straw that broke my back. Is when her boyfriend was there with his shirt off, cooking dinner. Brie introduced us and he decided to stare at me a little too long. And I'm like, okay, this is why you weren't answering my calls, because your boyfriend came over. Guess you didn't notice I left and was not back for a couple of hours, and I blew up your phone. How'd you not know? Okay? During the entire night he was around. It was so awkward, and Brie was so smitten. Even when I went to sleep on her couch, he would come out and go to the bathroom and then talk to me once he came back. I just felt off, and I just felt off being around him. He didn't leave the next day either, and me and Brie almost got into it about this trip being about us having time together. I personally feel she did not understand or care about why I came on this trip. I didn't come here to hang out with you and your boyfriend, just you. I'm like, hello? So, like I said, she didn't care. So I walked away to take a breather. And she went to the cafe across the way from her apartment to get some coffee. And boyfriend still in the apartment with me. That was unusual. After I literally told her how I felt about him, he sat next to me on the couch and started talking about my cousin. Granted, they weren't bad things, but I still don't want to talk to you. Get the picture? You get the hint? So I tried to ignore him, but then he sat a little closer. I shrugged it off and said, you shouldn't be here. I didn't want you here. And then he got mad. He got really offended by that, and he left. Yay! Brie came back and got upset and wouldn't listen to what I had to say, and that was wrong to me. That was wrong. Long story short, I was being rude and either had to apologize or leave. So guess what? I left. So I got home 3 days earlier and didn't speak to my cousin for a month. Over what? Over what? Please tell me what you think and who you think was wrong, especially during that last moment. I feel like we were both wrong, and I was more wrong because I didn't stop it when the flame started. I kind of just kept going. I don't know. I don't want to blame anyone. I just feel like it could have been avoided. Mostly if the boyfriend was gone, it would have been avoided. Or if she just answered the phone, I don't know. It would have been avoided then. But anyways, we're good now. Everything's okay, everything's fine. And those two, hilariously, aren't together anymore. That's kind of funny. Haha. So that was my trip to New York. And it was quite nice. But sadly, there were too many irritating things that happened to really enjoy it. Like, really enjoy it. And it was a small amount of time, so it just made it even worse. But that's not going to take away the fact that I took a trip, I took a chance, I went to see someone I love, and it, for the most part, could have been really cool. The food, you know, the other people, everything wasn't too bad. The scenery, everything came together, and there's not always going to be perfect times. So I'm not going to say it was horrible because of the moment that I had with the person I was supposed to see and spend my time with. I'm not going to do that. It was a good experience. About 70% of it was a good experience, and for that I definitely will go back and experience this again. And I know it's going to be better because they're not together. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be better, I know it, because I'm going to make sure I learn from my mistakes. And it was definitely quite nice, and I don't want that to go to waste. The negatives are not enough to keep me away, so trust that. I will go back one day, whenever I can. Especially once this is all over, I'm going to see what I can do and go back. And I'm paying for my ticket because I'm going to be in control of everything. And I'm going to stay in a hotel. That's what I'm going to do this time. But anyways, thank you for listening to my story about the NY. I don't know how that works. The NY. Let me know if you would like me to tell more stories like this. And of course, sub, like, comment. So goodbye, darlings.
It's so hard, I ain't gotta fake. I can make it afraid. It's so hard, I ain't gotta fake. I can make it afraid.
Okay, darlings, I just got my shipment of cheesecake from New York, and I'm so excited to eat this one. I don't usually shop or order online from the same place, so we'll see how this one tastes. Okay, so this is the cheesecake. Not too big, but let's see if it's worth it.